This is the Fight for Your Health, the show that teaches you how to master the fine art of living your life on purpose and have a longer, healthier, and happier life through the martial arts lifestyle. The show is hosted by Professor Buitron and his co-host, Grandmaster Richard Hackworth. These two experts have combined their efforts and are on a mission to make the world a safer, healthier, and happier place through the martial arts lifestyle. Now, to tell it like it is, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome to the Fight for Your Health podcast with Professor Buitron. I am your lovely and talented co-host, Richard Hackworth, and today we're discussing 10 tips to make this your healthiest year ever. And this is something that I've become somewhat of an expert at because at one point in time, my life was an absolute mess. You know, my physical health, my emotional health, my business, my personal relationships. In using these tips, I've been able to turn all of that around to where I'm a pretty good place in my life right now. And so I want to share those tips with our listeners and viewers. So are you ready for me to get into the first tip?
Let's go for it. You know, number one, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you find this material beneficial for you guys, hit the like button, share it. I'm going to tell you, Fight for Your Health is a podcast seen through the eyes of martial artists of what we should do to get healthier and so on and so forth. And we're just starting a new year. There's a lot of New Year's resolutions going through. Many people have already broken them and they're already stopped. But this is for you guys that are out there trying to figure out something to do. And Grandmaster Hackworth has some great ideas. So let's go forward.
All right. Well, but before I jump into the first tip here, I just want to say that, like always, we appreciate the viewers. And if you're here, go ahead and click that subscribe button and click to get our notifications as well. But the first tip that I want to talk about is that you have to learn to move more. I would recommend a minimum of 30 minutes a day because our lifestyles have become so sedentary over the years. And I know growing up, like in the 60s and 70s, I can tell you we walked a whole lot more than anybody does today just because it was part of the lifestyle. We walked to school, we walked everywhere. To our friends' houses, we were outside riding bicycles after school as kids, playing with our friends. And now people spend most of their time on devices and there's very little physical activity. So, if you just want to incorporate it into your daily schedule to be moving around for at least 30 minutes as my recommendation. And then that leads right into tip number 2, and that is to have a favorite sport that you do. Don't be a spectator. I mean, I know guys that watch, 30 hours of football or baseball or basketball on the weekends that don't get out and do 30 minutes of physical activity a day during the week. And it's affecting everybody. I'm losing friends that are in their 50s and 60s that probably could have lived well into their 80s had they just not spent so much time sitting in a chair watching instead of living. And so that's my thing. And I know for me personally, martial arts has been my mode of activity because for me, it's at least an hour, the class, and then a couple of times a week. So that I'm teaching. And then on the days that I'm not teaching, I have my self-practice. And another one that was good was dance. I know that my daughter and I had taken some dance classes together, and that was a lot of fun. So you just want to schedule in the physical activity. So when people are binge watching Netflix or whatever, they need to just click that off and go ahead and do 30 minutes of physical activity at a minimum. And then they can spend a little time doing Netflix. But don't sacrifice living for just being alive in on devices. And I think that the third tip is one that helped me a lot was to educate myself about the foods that I eat. I started reading labels and if I found that there were ingredients in there that I couldn't pronounce, these chemicals and things, I would choose a healthier option. And even with fruits and vegetables, I learned that I needed to wash them or soak them in vinegar water to get the wax off. And my doctor had told me that if you eat like cucumbers and apples, that the amount of wax that you're getting into your system and plastic from this stuff is enough to make a credit card a week that's being filtered through your organs. And so you got to wash your fruits and vegetables. So I don't know if you have a habit of doing that now, but I highly recommend it. And the fourth tip is one that a lot of people started as a time management thing, but it's a health thing too. And that's to have a meal and snack plan and schedule. Because I know if like snack time hits and you haven't planned and you don't have a healthy snack on hand, you're going to grab something convenient. And I'm telling you, convenient out of a wrapper is never a healthy option. So I made that mistake myself for many, many years. And so I would recommend the schedule. And then after I became a diabetic, I learned how important it is to eat my meals on a schedule, have my snacks on a schedule to keep my blood sugar balanced and keep my energy levels consistent throughout the day so that I'm not having this energy peak with a sugary drink and then a crash an hour later that makes me want to go take a nap. So, having a meal and snack plan and schedule is definitely something you're going to want to incorporate. And as we go along to that, I think that it also helps you schedule like around your family, because so few families have dinner together anymore. So I recommend that you bring back the family dinner and talking to your kids at dinner time, because if you don't, you lose that personal connection and you feel disconnected from the people in your house. You no longer feel like they're your family. They're just tax deductions that are in there eating up the electricity and whatever in your groceries. So if you schedule this and have conversations and let them talk about the little things, then as they get comfortable, they'll talk to you about the big things too. And that goes a long way. And I think that that leads right into my fifth suggestion. And that's going to be to have positive relationships. And you have to learn to be a good communicator to make that happen. And the reason I say that this improves your health is because happy people have less stress. They get less headaches. They have less stomach issues. So when you learn to communicate better, and that was a big one for me, because for many years I worked in an all-male military environment, and you tend to talk a different way when it's just you and the boys talking. But when you go home, you can't take that same type of talk to your 9-year-old daughter. You know what I mean? Because it just seems abusive, because they don't understand it. Well, that's just how daddy talks. Well, no, daddy needs to talk, more caringly toward his daughter so that they have that bond, or toward the son. So being a good communicator, I feel really helped improve my health, because I had so much less stress. I didn't get headaches as often. Because you ever seen somebody that they have a conversation that maybe didn't go so well through poor communication with their spouse or their kids? Next thing you know, they got a migraine, they want to take a nap or something. So we can improve our lives by having better communication and better relationships, both personally and professionally. And then my sixth tip, yeah, go ahead and share.
Absolutely. You brought up some great points that we'll touch base towards the end, and every single one of them is something that everybody is lacking in some form or another, that we can fix, that we can adapt, that we can change. And, like they say, how do you eat an elephant one piece at a time? And that's what we need to do here. We have to start understanding what we need to do ourselves before we go forward. And we'll talk a little bit more, but continue with, you're at number what, 6?
Number 6. So, and this is one that everybody, like when I say it, they're like, oh, Richard, everybody knows that. And I said, yeah, everybody knows it, but very few people do it. And that is to drink pure water. And I know, like in my city, Orlando, Florida, the water that you get from your sink is not that clear. So we use a water filter system so that we have clean, drinkable water. I remember before we got the system, I had put water in a pitcher. And then later I realized, I'm like, what's this stuff in the bottom of the pitcher? And it was sediment of all this sludge and crud that had settled to the bottom of the pitcher that was in the water. So I had to get that out. And I feel that it helps quite a bit. So boil water, filter water, all of that. I remember my dad, when bottled water first came out, he said, people don't know how to boil water. He couldn't believe that people would buy bottled water, but it's a very common thing now. And not just because it's convenient to grab a bottle, because it's just as convenient to fill a glass from the sink. But people are like, well, the bottled water tastes better. Yes, because it's filtered, and you can filter it at home. Save yourself carrying that 50-pound bag or thing of water, And I try to drink close to a gallon a day. And I know that it helps me keep my energy level up because I don't get dehydrated. And in Florida, that's a very important thing. I don't know about your part of the country, but here, staying hydrated or being dehydrated can be a health hazard.
Sure. And that's here. Well, we live in Laredo, Texas, and you have to stay hydrated. You have to stay hydrated, and you have to drink plenty of water. Here, just like we have problems with our water. Here, you have a lot of problems with boiled water and issues of that nature that are occurring. But other than that, I think everything else is fine.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Well, number 7, I want to say, spend time outside. You get your vitamin D from sunlight. It improves your mood, improves your health because you're outside breathing some fresh air. So I have a system in place that a lot of people have, but maybe they're not taking advantage of. I want to make sure I'm getting at least 15 minutes or so of direct sunlight every morning as soon as I can. So how do I do that? I have dogs. So I take my dogs out for a walk. I'm getting my sunshine and they're getting some exercise. So it's a win-win for, me and the pets. But I find that on days, if the weather was really bad and I didn't go out into the sunlight, I feel a little gloomy. And some people are like, oh, I get gloomy on dark days. I'm like, yeah, because you're not getting that sunlight that you need. So the problem with that is that when you're not getting the sunlight, it affects your health because you're not getting that natural source of vitamin D. So that's my 7th tip. Now, the 8th tip that I'm going to go into is to get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. And for a lot of people, they're not getting that quality sleep because they don't limit their screen time. So they're laying on the bed looking at their device, and that blue light is just, destroying their system, when they need to put that thing away at least 2 hours before bed so that they're not affecting their health with the blue light and they're getting a better quality of sleep. And like I said, all of these tips that I'm sharing with you are my personal experience. I was notorious for that. And I would lay on the bed and look at my phone for hours. And then the next day I'm like, man, I didn't sleep well. Well, no, you weren't even trying to sleep. You were looking at your phone. So that's my 8th tip there.
That happens to everybody, and everybody it's that blue light that starts hitting you. And you need to realize that you have to put the phone away. And people always say, I want to read if somebody came back and answered or commented on the post that I placed. Listen, put it away, set it aside. You have to do that because it controls your life, and you can start seeing it with our adolescents more and more. And now you're seeing it with the younger ones. You got parents that buy their 5-year-olds phones and they're on social media, 6-year-olds social media, 8-year-olds. No, enough's enough. They're playing video games with who knows who. It's let me put it to you this way. I hate to quote a song, but the Eagles, or what did they say? Everybody's addicted to their own device, and everybody's on their phones.
Yeah.
We have to realize that we have to set that aside. You said some great points, Richard. One is bring back family time. It's hard, especially with martial artists out there and that are teaching, because most of us teach in the afternoon. Most of us teach in the evening. Some of us work from 4 to 10 o'clock at night nonstop. Those are the martial arts school hours because everybody's out of work.
Right.
Very rare that a martial art instructor goes home at 6 o'clock and has dinner with their family. Usually when they get home, kids are already in bed or what have you, or you see your kids in the martial arts school while you're working, dad's working, what have you. It happened with me. I grew up that way. But those of you out there that are watching this, set a time. Even if it's in the weekends, you're not teaching in the weekends. Make sure that, guess what? Sunday we're going to have a cookout, and make sure that everybody, the family, is going to be there together. Start finding out, start changing that habit of everybody eating at different hours. Start understanding what's going on. Find out get involved with your kids' lives. Get involved with your significant other's life as well. Not trying to control them, but get involved. Find out what's going on, and things like that are needed in today's society that are being lost, actually. Now, going back to working out, um, you lifted weights. I lifted weights. I used to power lift in college, um, and we've continued with that, going into the ring or into the gym to work out on a continual basis. We never took it as a bodybuilding sport, because that's a total different sport or what have you. Now you have CrossFit, which are phenomenal athletes. Believe me, their dedication and discipline is above all. But what I'm talking about is getting exercise done. Understand where you want to be in the exercise realm. If you want to exercise and use martial arts as your exercise, do so. If you want to go do yoga or dancing, do so. Find a good place. People say, I don't have a partner. You know what? If you have a social media place, tell somebody, you know what? I'm looking for a partner to go do martial arts on Tuesday and Thursday. Who's up to it? Or you know what? I'm gonna at 5 o'clock in the morning. I need a partner to go lift weights. I'll guarantee you somebody's gonna say, I'll go with you.
Right.
There'll be several people. Ask. You know what? It's this school over here is teaching yoga from 7 to 8. Who's up to going up over there? Boom. Do it. The buddy programs work a lot. A lot of people won't do a martial art or won't go into weights or won't go into some other sport. Why? Because they don't have a friend or a partner to go do it. But again, if you go and you start off, you'll meet other people that are doing it there anyway. So befriend them. Understand that you're going to make friends. A lot of people are a little bit too introverted, and they don't want to go in there. I don't know anybody. You're going to meet friends. You're going to be in an environment where, and that you can, the community of that environment self-empowers the other people that are in there. That's where you want to be in there with. Those are the schools, the gyms that you want to go to. If you go to a cookie cutter gym or a cookie cutter martial arts school, you're not really going to learn. You're going to learn through those ones that help empower you. That the community that's involved inside that facility are going to help one another. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, you make some great points, and that's an excellent segue into tip number 9, and that is meditation. Make it a daily habit. Now, I know for me, I love meditation, but I'm not that good at it. So what I tell people is that if you feel like sitting there doing nothing is going to be hard to keep things from crawling into your mind and distracting you, then what I do is I play a 10-minute guided meditation from YouTube, and it keeps me on track. And then when it's done, I know, hey, I got my 10 minutes in. So I feel like I've accomplished something else for the day. So that's one of my recommendations for that, or to take a class so that you get better at it on your own to be able to do more at home. But I think that once you've calmed your mind and you've reduced your stress with these things, it goes a long way in improving your health. I know I used to, when I would get stressed, I would wake up the first thing every morning and go vomit from the stress. And I know that I couldn't have been getting good sleep if that was the first thing happening after I wake up in the morning. So I find that meditation helps me relieve some of that. And I wasn't really into it like in my early years when they would want to do it at class and everything. I'm like, oh man, this again, there's 10 minutes of my time wasted. But now I have an appreciation for it. because I realize how it affects my health and my life. But the final tip that I want to share today is one that is actually from a leadership course that they do for a lot of business people in Japan. And part of it is that you have to practice smiling, because the act of smiling triggers something in your mind that improves your mood and reduces stress. And it's hard for people to come at you that aggressively when you're smiling, you know. But if you're not, if you've got a scowl on your face, it seems like you attract these people and that negative energy, which just makes your situation worse. So, you know, just try to smile more. And even with me, like I have a crooked smile because my jaw has been broken twice, but I'm like, I don't let that stop me. You know, I still try to smile as often as I can. But I'm really glad that we had a chance to do this show today. And I think that, like, for the viewers, that if they'll apply these tips, they're going to get some benefit, definitely. And if they haven't subscribed yet, I hope you go ahead and click to subscribe and share this with a friend. And in addition to that, please leave us a comment. Like, if there's a tip that you feel is helpful and that the other viewers would benefit from, by all means, please leave it in the comments, because we love to hear from you.
Absolutely. You said a great, you know, understand this, folks. There's a lot of nonverbal communications that we do, and smiling is number one. That's how we cross a lot of boundaries. And you said it right. You know, I remember when we went in there into some leadership programs on how to answer the phone, they would always put a mirror there in front of you for you to start smiling, for you to, because they said they can, even if you don't smile and you answer the phone to the other person, your voice changes. Yes. And I was like, wow, I never heard of that. So you are correct. We have to have fun within the day. We have to appreciate the day when we get up. Appreciate that you have a job. Appreciate that you have friends in some places that you might not think of them as friends. You know, you might end up going to a gym and it gives you a high five for going in there. Those are people that are going to help you out, because guess what? You might get tired one day and they'll spot you, or you ask them. And that's how you start breaking the boundaries. You know, you have to start, instead of us becoming introverts, which what happened in 2020, they isolated everybody. We're people that we're human beings. We belong to a social group. We have to socialize, and go to classes. You don't want to do martial arts, go to a dance class. You will go to a yoga class, go to a CrossFit class if you're that type of athletic weightlifter, or go into powerlifting if you want that. But go to those gyms that specialize into that.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that actually that's like an 11th tip, is the socialization aspect. Because, you know, we're always told that if you want to reach a certain level in life, you have to surround yourself with like-minded people. And there's no easier way to do that than to start interacting with the people that are doing the things to improve their life that you want to do to improve yours. So, yeah, maybe we should add that as number 11 in the list. But I did email you the list, if you can add that to the description. So if you're watching, you can copy and paste the list into a note in your phone, or just go back and watch the video a couple of times if you feel it helps. Yeah, definitely learn to apply these things to your life.
What we're going to do with Fight for Your Health, we're going to try to shoot it out once a month and bring you all enough content for you guys to carry forward. We got some great guests coming up, some folks that come from the CrossFit sense of things, from the Indian weightlifting, the Joris, the Gatas, and the Indian clubs, kind of teaches that as well. We're going to go into some other practices of heavy lifting, power lifting, with some great guests that we're going to be bringing forth, all the way around. Because number one, I know we're both martial art instructors, and a lot of martial art instructors watch this. But one thing I want to tell you guys is that sometimes we need time for ourselves, and we ourselves have to go out there and continue bettering ourselves. And if we can do it by taking a yoga class, or we can do it by taking something else that benefits us as instructors as well. So once more, I want to thank everybody. Have a great year. And Grandmaster, you stay safe. Folks out there, how do we leave you? Be safe, stay safe, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Till next time, peace.